In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful beanie, and you can use so many different colors in this to customize and make it completely yours. If you want your beanie to be even longer than this, or you can have it longer to where you can fold the brim around the edges if you make it even longer than that, you can still use this video tutorial, but simply add more rows when we get to the part where we're extending the length of the beanie. So I'll mention that later on in the video. For this exact beanie, the colors that I used are this blue, this variegated, this other variegated color, and gray. I did use 2 of each of these and just a little bit of these 2 colors for the border. You should have enough by using 4 skeins of yarn. And remember, you can use different varieties of colors on this because your kit comes with a lot of matching colors or colors that go well together. For example, these 2 colors, I feel like they work perfectly. And again, I did use 4 of these together to get this part of the beanie. So 4 skeins of this would be perfectly fine. That's all you need, 4 skeins of yarn to make this hat. Also for tools, you're gonna need our snippers, a 6mm crochet hook, and a yarn needle is going to come in really handy too when you want to weave in your ends. So this is all you need to make the beanie. Let's get started. So I'm going to use a 6mm crochet hook. So we're going to use the biggest one in the kit. And I'm going to use this big hook because we're actually going to be doubling our yarn. So what that means is we're going to be holding 2 strands of yarn at the same time. And I absolutely love this look. I think it looks so beautiful when you're using a variegated and a solid color yarn. So that's what we're going to do for our hat. And since we're holding twice the amount of yarn, I would normally use about maybe a 4mm hook. This time I'm going to use a 6mm. Okay, so even though I have my yarn doubled, I'm going to be working with this just as if it were 1 strand of yarn. The reason I'm doubling is so that our project will go by a little faster. We'll have 2 colors of yarn, so the project will look really nice, and we get to use a larger hook. So we get some practice in using that larger hook. So I'm going to make a magic ring, leaving that tail because you're going to use this to sew it in at the end. So make that X, pull the yarn under, twist it, grab some yarn and pull it through. So again, I'm working with it, even though I'm holding 2 strands of yarn at the same time, it's just like if I was holding 1. So what we are going to do is chain 2, and now work 12 double crochets into this ring. Yarn over, insert the hook through the ring, pull through, yarn over, and we're going through the first 2 sets of loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. So we're going to yarn over again, insert the hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. So what we have right now are that set of chain 2, then we have 2 double crochets. So I'm going to make another double crochet by yarning over, inserting the hook, yarning over and pulling through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 sets of loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. So now I have 3 double crochets. I'm going to keep double crocheting until I have 12 all around. have my 12 double crochets and my chain 2. So I'm going to pull the ring and close that up. And now what we're going to do is we have the chain 2 right here. I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 2. So insert the hook, pull the yarn through. Sometimes this can be a little tricky. You just pull the yarn through and then pull it through the next loop. And if you have a little hole in the middle of the magic ring, that's okay. We can use the tail at the end to sew it even more shut. So we're going to chain 2 again. You're going to chain 2 at the end of every round. And what we're going to do is double crochet 2 into every stitch. So we have 12 stitches. We're going to have 24 stitches by the end of this round. So our first set of 2 double crochets is going to be right here. We have that opening because we want to go back into the stitch where we chain 2. So we're going to go in. That's 1 double crochet. And there's a second. Then we move on to the following stitch and do 2 double crochets in that one as well. And keep going, doing 2 double crochets in every stitch till you get to that chain 2. When you get to that last stitch, when you get to the chain 2, you're going to go to the top of the chain 2 and do a slip stitch again. So now we're going to start round 3. We're going to start by chaining 2 and then going back into that stitch. That is where we're going to do 1 double crochet. So this round is going to be 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet. So we're going to continue that sequence all around. We just did the 1 double crochet. So now we're going to do 2 double crochet in the same stitch. Then we're going to do 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet in the same stitch, one double crochet, two double crochet in the same stitch. So I'm going to continue that all around, and I'll meet you when we get back to that chain 2. By the end of this round, when you get to the chain 2, your last stitch should be 2 double crochets in this stitch, and you should have 36 stitches total by the end of the 3rd round. So I'm here at the very last 2 stitches. So remember, we're doing 1 double crochet and then 2 double crochet in that very last stitch. Then we're going to go to the top of the chain 2 and slip stitch. Okay, now we're going to start round 4. As always, we're going to start with chaining 2. And our first stitch is going to be back into that space where we first chained 2. So we're going to do 1 double crochet back into that space. Then we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next stitch. And we're going to work 2 double crochets into that third stitch. And that's going to be the sequence that's going to be for round 4. It's going to be 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 double, 1 double, 2, 1 double, 1 double, 2, and you're going to continue that all the way around. When you get to your last stitch, that should be 2 double crochets in that stitch, and you'll have 48 stitches all around. So I'm going to continue the sequence. 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets in the same stitch, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets in the same stitch. So I'm going to continue that all the way around until I get to the end where we first chained 2. So remember, it's 2 double crochets in that very last stitch. Then we're going to slip stitch at the top of the chain 2 and continue on to the next round by chaining 2. And to start this round, we're going to change the sequence. We're going to do 1 double crochet, another double crochet, a third double crochet, and increase. This is going to be our last round of increasing. So it's going to be 3 double crochets and then 2 double crochet into the next stitch. As always, we're going to start with the first double crochet in that stitch where we chained 2. So 1 double crochet, another double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the third stitch, and 2 double crochets in the fourth stitch. So we're going to continue that all around. 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. So all the way around it's going to be 1 double, 1 double, 1 double, 2 double crochets. 1 double, 1 double, 1 double, 2 double crochets. So you're going to continue that all the way around until you get to the chain 2. By the time you finish, it's going to be 2 double crochets in this last stitch, and you should have a total of 60 stitches all around. So we're going to finish off this round by slip stitching into the first of the chain 2. And to begin the next round, we are going to chain 2. Now I'm going to work back into that stitch where we chained 2. So this is the base where we chained 2. And I'm going to do a double crochet. And for this next round and all the other rounds after, all we're doing is double crocheting. So we're not doing 2 double crochets in any stitches anymore. It's just 1 double crochet in each stitch. And this is going to build up your hat. So depending how many rows you put on here is going to depend how long your hat is going to be. So I'm going to keep double crocheting 1 in each stitch all the way around. And I'll meet you back when we get to the end of the round, which is that chain 2. To finish round 6, I'm going to do 1 last double crochet and then slip stitch into the top of that chain 2. You may notice your hat starts to bowl a little bit. That's perfect because that's the shape that the hat is supposed to be. So we're going to continue again doing the double crochets all around. At the end of every round, you're still going to have 60 stitches because we're not increasing at all. By this point too, you might start to notice you might be running low on the first 2 skeins of yarn. That's okay. When I get to the end of this skein, I'm going to show you how to change colors, or in this case, how to keep adding the same color, but how to work with the yarn once you get to the end of it. So I'm going to keep chaining 2 and then double crocheting back into that stitch and double crocheting in every other stitch. So I'm going to keep going until I run out of yarn. It should be just a few more stitches, and then I'll show you how to work that. Okay, so I ran out of the variegated color. I still have a little bit of the blue color left, so I'm only going to change the variegated color to this new skein. So I'm going to grab the yarn from the new skein, and since I'm working double crochets, I'm going to start a double crochet, insert the hook, pull yarn through, and I'm going to loop it once, pull the yarn through, and before, instead of pulling this through again, I'm going to go ahead and grab the blue yarn, put it across, and the new variegated yarn, and I'm going to hold that and pull it through. So then I'm going to keep working with the new variegated, which is kind of pink right now, and I'm going to continue double crocheting, leaving behind 2 tails, and we can sew these in at the very end of the project. And here, just shortly after, I'm out of the blue yarn, so I'm going to do the same. I'm going to pull the yarn through the first 2 loops of that double crochet, grab the new blue skein, so I have the blue yarn here, and the variegated that I'm still working with. So I loop the variegated across just like normal, and I pull through. Yarn over, make sure you're yarning over with both skeins, and keep double crocheting. Again, I'm gonna have 2 strands of yarn left over, but I'll be weaving those in at the end. So I'm going to continue just like normal, double crocheting around, and we're almost at the end. This is the very last double crochet for the round. And then on the chain 2, so with chain 1 and 2, you're going to slip stitch. So again, you should have 60 around. So for an average hat, it's about 11 to 12 rows, but you can always change that and customize it depending how long you want it. So this is one round, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We just finished round 7. So we can get to round 11 and see how that works with us, because it can be totally different. If you want to make your hat longer, you can continue adding rows. Adding rows is really easy. All you do is chain 2, work back into that chain, and you're just going to double crochet across. So the same 2 rows that we've been doing, you're going to repeat that just as long as you want the hat. So right now we're building the length of the hat. So I'm going to keep double crocheting around. So before I continue crocheting, I ran out of this color again, and though I can grab a new one of the same two colors, the blue and this color, I do want to show you guys that using different yarns does still make a beautiful hat. So I used two of the same colors throughout this hat, but I want to go ahead and mix it up a little bit, and now we're going to add these two colors in. So even though it is different yarns, it still will make a gorgeous hat, and it'll be extra special. It'll have a very special touch to it when you mix different colors. So I'm going to go ahead and change this yarn. And I made sure to kind of do it at the end so it'll be a little bit more seamless, the color change. So I'm going to use the new colors when I slip stitch and chain 2. Then we're going to go back, remember, into that stitch where we did the chain 2 and continue double crocheting as normal. And then these tails, again, we will use them to weave it in later. So I'm going to snip off these tails because they're very long. They're quite long. And we don't need that much of it. So again, I'm going to continue crocheting with these two yarns, and I'm going to keep doing double crochets around. Okay, so I have the beanie finished. I am at the last row where I simply did a slip stitch to finish off. So if I was continuing crocheting, I would have done 2 chains and then keep double crocheting. So I'll just show you what I did to finish. When I got to the last double crochet, I inserted the hook and just did that slip stitch and pulled. So I didn't continue chaining 2. So I got to a length at the hat that I like. You can always try this on, and I highly recommend doing this. Try it on as you're crocheting and see if you want it any longer. You can make it much longer and then kind of make a flap for it as it goes down. But I do like this length on myself, and I did 11 rounds. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the 11th one was when I changed the color. And I do like that pop of color. I feel like it works really well with the hat. So now I'm going to finish off and cut the yarn. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab a yarn needle. We'll be using this to sew in the ends. So first pull this through, and I'm going to move the yarn that we didn't use to a side. Okay, so I'm going to turn the hat inside out so we have all the ends that we need to sew in quite visible. Since these two ended at the same time, you can definitely sew these in together, or you can sew them in one at a time. So I'm going to insert the yarn in the needle. And I'm going to weave the end tail in. So I'm going to do this by going back and forth on the stitches, but you can definitely go up and down as well, just like so. And before I finish off, I'm going to make a small knot. So I have the knot right here, and then I'm going to pull it through these stitches so it won't be visible anymore. So just like that, the knot went under the stitches. It's in between the front and the back. It is literally inside the stitch. So there's the first set, and then we have quite a few more to weave in. So I'm going to do the same thing, just going back and forth. And before cutting off the yarn, I am going to make a small knot. And with that last end sewn in, I'm going to reverse the hat back to normal. So with the front out, this is the beanie. So I truly hope that you enjoyed the video and that you love your new beanie. Remember, it's so much fun to use different colors on it. You can use so many different colors because the kit comes with such a variety, and a lot of the colors do match together. So I hope you enjoyed again, and we can't wait to see your beanie pictures. Make sure to leave a picture with the review of the kit.